Welcome, Upermill fans. So after years of not utilizing our basement to the full potential, I decided to start new and design something that was full of potential. I started with nothing and now have something very extravagant for a NASCAR fan. What do artists like the most? The answer is a blank canvas to be creative with. We started out by building subwalls that are attached to the floor with 2x4s and built it 16 inches on center with studs. The room area is about 8 feet by 14 feet long, not including the bar area. I've never built walls before, so this was all new to me. If I was going to do this, I wanted to do it right, and the whole point of this room was to be centered around my NASCAR collection. The materials I used for building the trophy case are 1 1/4 inch, 4 foot long dowels, 2x4s, 1x2s, 0.022 inch acrylic, not plexiglass, even though I say that in the upcoming clips, a 1 inch by 8 inch by 10 foot board, a 1 inch by 10 inch by 10 foot board, 12 gauge bendable steel wire, screen, and I found some trim pieces after I dissected an old curio cabinet. I had to make the angle pieces to close in the trophy cases. So I'm in the process of redesigning my basement here, but for those of you interested in maybe building your own tracks at home, basically I did a 1x8 inch by 8 foot board and a 2x4 by 8 foot board, and then 1 1/4 inch dowels, 2 4-footers, and basically stacked them and did pilot holes for each hole, and then screwed the 2x4 to the 1x8 first, and then with pilot holes, and then drilled the dowels to the wood itself with pilot holes as well, so you don't crack the wood. And then I got a 1x10x8 and I painted it black with a small black roller. Basically it's a midnight black, and just applied the second coat on that. So basically you guys will see the next step after that. So on the wall, I attached a 2x4 to the studs, and basically after that I took measurements to figure out my measurements for drilling pilot holes. So I got one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, and one at the end. And then the same measurements I took, I've drilled pilot holes here. And then basically we'll be screwing this board to that board right there. What I forgot to mention was I'm screwing 3-inch screws, so that way it goes through the 2x4 and the 1x, and then drills into this 2x4 here. So basically it screws down into there, and then you kind of pre-screw or pre-place the screws in, and then basically finish attaching where you did the pilot holes on this board right here, and then this board as well. And basically we're coming on to the next spot. That you have this attached, you're going to need to make it so that the shelf doesn't move as much. So you can either add bracing underneath here, but what I might try to do is basically do toe-in angle shots like this into the 2x4s. I have them already pre-marked out where these holes are right here. So basically I'll be towing in on the top here, and that should prevent it from flexing forward. So if not, my other alternative is just to add some bracing underneath here, and maybe even add another 2x4 for stability. So when I mean toe in, basically I am in line with the 2x4 studs that are behind the drywall, and basically drilling in at an angle like that. And by doing so, this pretty much made it all sturdy to the point where it won't move, and we should be able to continue on. I hope you enjoy the clips and some of the instructional stuff I show in the video. It may not be perfect, although I'm not done with the design totally yet, and I know people may have better ways of displaying them design-wise. I wanted to see how creative I can get when designing this trophy case for the diecast cars. I've seen a few other people have simplistic designs, not trying to be disrespectful to theirs, but I wanted to try this for myself and see how far I can take it. Now that we have the trim piece painted, used a 1x2 by 8 foot. Basically, I'm driving in 5 3-inch screws to be able to screw in past the two boards and then into the dowels here, and kind of go from there. And basically after that, I'm gonna drill some holes and start putting in the catch fence, and then we can kind of go from there. As you're drilling, make sure you drill pilot holes, because otherwise it'll crack. Because if you just send the screw in by itself, it'll crack and you won't be able to basically work it as the wall, and you have to start all over. I hope you take away from this clip that you can literally design anything if you have a vision and are willing to roll up your sleeves and try. There are a few things I would change, but now I know how to address them if I decide to build more. When it came to mounting the cars, my initial thought was to screw them in from underneath, but after the complex design of the banking, I didn't think that would be possible. Luckily enough for me, the angle is still there, but the angle wasn't enough for the cars to slide down. The difference in Elite versus ARC version of the car's tires does help. The Elite tires are softer rubber versus the ARC version having harder rubber. The softer rubber seems a little more secure from them sliding around. Basically, I ended up not screwing them down because they weren't moving at all when I placed them on that angle. Okay, so this is a continuation of heading into the boards. So basically I created a 1x10 here, and then I still gotta screw it down to the bottom here and drill pilot holes for everything. It makes it a lot easier. I have a little bit of a learning curve here with plexiglass. Basically drill your pilot holes and be very careful when you go to screw down, otherwise you crack. And I did a 1x2 on the back side. These are all 8-foot boards, by the way. And then going down, and this front one is a 2x2. And then basically I kind of screw everything in. Basically I drilled into the studs in the back, and then I'll run decorative trim after I get done running everything here. And then basically what I could do is unscrew these top parts or this front part here, and basically I'll be able to get to the cars and change them out as I go. But that's it as far as that goes. And then I'll drill pilot holes here going all the way down to be able to have the plexiglass right in the front here as well. So that's basically how I'm doing this right now, and we'll continue on to the next step. Alright, so now that you got it framed in, now it's time to put the plexiglass in. So one of the things that I did to be able to make this is basically you have to do it where basically you're using the drill bit to kind of melt through the plastic, otherwise you end up cracking it. So basically here we go as an example. So start through with the smaller bit. See how it's kind of melting the plastic. And then now we're into the wood where you can kind of go through at normal pressure. And then see how it goes through. Alright, so there's your pilot hole. Now, I'm just going to set the phone down here for a second so you can kind of look at it, maybe. I'll just set it down for a second. So switch now to a bigger drill bit here. Alright, so in that same hole that we just drilled, we're going to take a bigger drill bit and then basically kind of melt the plastic again. Basically, you're not putting any pressure, you're just kind of letting it burn through. And then see how it touches the wood? That's when you want to stop. Then you pull it out. And then we're going to switch over and grab the screw. kind of drop it in your hole, and then you can kind of start threading it a little bit. And then basically what we're going to do is go down very slowly, and then see how the screw head starts to come out towards the top of the screw. Basically you want to go till that pretty much starts touching the plexiglass. If you go any further, it ends up basically a crack in the plexiglass. This is all lessons that I've learned on a few pieces already. So, and then basically till it's touching just like that, and not the whole screw head, but just where it starts to round off towards the top of the head. That's where you're going to want to stop, otherwise it's going to crack the plexiglass. I guess one of the things I forgot to mention real quick is turn the drill bit down to level 5 so it stops from over torquing and crack the acrylic. I also used a circular saw to cut the acrylic pieces. Make sure you wear safety glasses because that stuff spreads thick everywhere. Okay, so now we got to the part where basically I'm putting in the cars and everything right now. I still have the bottom piece, trim piece to add yet. I'm going to do some lighting up above there, and then I'll probably add some banners and some other things as well too. Maybe even a start finish line in there as well too. But the reason why I designed it this way, and the bottom piece that I'm going to be putting in here too, I got to engineer a way to do this as well too. But up top here, I put these screws in for a purpose. As you can guess, the reason why I did this is so that I can get at them fairly easily. Oops. Don't mind the mess in the back room there. All part of this construction process. But so now that this is like this, oops, I got one more. Now that we have it like this, like I said, the reason why I did that, I should probably just take this out all together, so that you can interchange the cars, or if you need to get to the cars for some reason or want to change them out. Basically all these pieces slide out just like so. And then that way you can get your hands up in there and reach, and then move them around and do whatever you need to do. But it's still coming along as far as you can see. Like I said, there's some other details that I want to add in as well. Alright, so we're keeping the process going, and we'll go to the next step. Alright, so one thing I wanted to add in here as well too is that as I'm designing this and everything like that, a lot of pieces have interchanged, and basically I'll go back and kind of go back and take a look at how some of the starting processes, and I'll add in some comments as well too. But when it comes to the plexiglass, basically the biggest tips I can offer, hopefully you watch this all the way through before you actually do it yourself, but basically you need to have your drill bit on like the 5th setting, or your driver on your 5th setting, because basically it's like plastic, so if you go in too tight, it causes the plexiglass to break. But when you drive it in, see, I can't twist it any further, so basically it's a fail-safe to stop the plexiglass or acrylic, which I'm using here, from breaking as well or shattering in the corners. As you see here, I'm moving on to my Kevin Harvick nose off of his 2017 October Talladega car. The whole purpose of this bracket is to make it suspend and pop when I add lights to it. I am not the originator of the final layout for the lights, but I did design the bracket to custom fit my nose mounted on the wall. My plan is to use it to house more display diecast cars or memorabilia. The bottom shelf is where I plan to put my cable box so you can see it through the front of the nose. I took a lot of measurements to make it fit the nose just right and to hide the bracket as much as possible. Okay, so I'm to the point now where I'm putting in the LED strip here. It's basically the ones they can buy for underneath the cabinets, and I am peeling that strip back, and you can cut it to whatever length that you want to, and then running it down the length of the strip here, and then making it go out through the top part of the plexiglass or wall acrylic, whatever you use, and then there'll be a switch to flip it on. Okay, so after I put the light up top there underneath the trim piece, this is what it looks like now that the light is in. Looks like they have some night racing going on. It's pretty sleek. Okay, so you also want to know how and what I did with the lights behind here. The lights part, I can't say that the idea came from myself, but as far as this goes, basically the lights were ran on the inside with just the color changing lights. It sticks nicely to the inside of the carbon fiber, and looks pretty good, and you can get them in multicolor. It changes colors and everything like that as well too. So and then for inside the, sorry for the mess, it's still a construction zone, but for inside the up by the lights and everything like this, you can just pick these up at Menards. It's nice, you can actually cut them to length and all that stuff like that as well too. So but yeah, it's a work in progress. Like I said, thank you guys for checking this out. Okay, so here's kind of what the final product looks like. The only thing left that you won't see is I'll be having a LED light hung up top here, so it'll shine down. I'm getting all color chromes going across the top here, and then basically with that LED light in there on the back underneath the trim piece, kind of makes it look like they're night racing. So, and then cycle over, and then we got the big screen TV with the Harvick nose, and then we got the LED lights, and I'll fix the wiring here too eventually, but it's kind of like temporary put in place, and we'll kind of go from there. So hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks for being a part of UPromo.